announcers, and flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Power Hour, Josh Hennig hanging out with you till 6 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN. 5 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash, as always, being brought to you by Whitehorse RV Center in Williamstown and Galloway. The summer clearance event is on now at Whitehorse RV. Whitehorse RV, your RV adventure starts here at Whitehorse RV in Williamstown and Galloway. I got you till 6 p.m. tonight. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Text board is open. 609-403-0973. I'm going to try to catch up on some of the texts that Mike was unable to get to before he had to step out. Also, we'll get you a recap of the Phillies lineup that came out a little bit earlier today. By the way, how about the Eagles adding a corner? And I got to tell you guys, I'm a little disappointed in some of the coverage of this story about the Eagles acquiring Ja'Cory Bennett. I'll tell you about that coming up as well this hour. So we got Phillies and Eagles to get to. You and me hanging out till 6 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill. And, after a game like last night, after the Phillies have kind of started finding themselves again, we all have some good vibes about the team. There's a part of us all kind of looking around and being like, yeah, this is the team we expected them to be. This is the team we know they can be. This is the reason why we acquired this guy, Harrison Bader. This is why we have built the team the way that it has been constructed. And what did the Phillies do to us the day after? The very, very next day. It's like we got slapped in the face. I don't know about you guys, but it's great that we're all talking about, as we should be, Kyle Schwarber, an MVP candidate, which, by the way, we told you about 2 months ago. He should have been in the conversation right here on 97.3 ESPN. Myself and Mike Gill have been mentioning this for months now. And yeah, it's great that Joan Duran is such an anticipatory player with his entrance and everything. But the Phillies did something today that just makes you very, very frustrated with them. And that is the Phillies lineup, brought to you by Instant Services, South Jersey's premier HVAC, plumbing, and electrical service provider. Go to instantservices.com to learn more about their preventive maintenance memberships and how they can keep your systems running strong year-round. So what did the Phillies do today with this lineup? They slapped all of you in the face. They told every single fan, you don't matter. Because they insert Kepler right back into the lineup. There are no circumstances that Max Kepler should ever start a game in a Phillies uniform ever again. But this organization wants to tell us that he's hitting the ball hard and that he's unlucky. And the very night after we see Harrison Bader crush a monster blast, you put Kepler right back in the lineup? I would like to let everyone know that this is not a left-handed or right-handed thing anymore. This is a Philadelphia Phillies team being stubborn. This is an organization intent on trying to maximize every cent that they have spent on this roster. Because I'm telling you guys right now, if it was about left-hander versus right-hander, Harrison Bader would still be playing out there. See, here's the part of the story that nobody tells you, folks. Here's the part of the story that doesn't add up. Harrison Bader actually has better numbers against right-handed pitching than left-handers. That's right. But that narrative never gets brought up by the Phillies every time they bring up numbers and analytics and stats. It's always about, well, Kepler's hitting the ball hard. Hey, nobody cares if he's hitting the ball hard. Because Kepler hitting the ball hard has him at 200 for the year. Now, you might be asking, well, wait a minute, Josh. When Bader hit that home run last night, we're not going to act like it's not just one game, right? Well, no. But they pulled Povich out of the game at that point. They pulled the left-handed starter out of the game. Yeah. Think about that for a minute. The Phillies have literal evidence in front of them. Like tangible, literal evidence that Harrison Bader can hit off of a right-hander. Corbin Martin was in the game when Bader blasted that home run. But you want to keep telling me that Max Kepler is the best option? 8 of Harrison Bader's 13 home runs this year are against right-handed pitching. 27 of his 41 RBI are against right-handed pitching. In fact, Bader has a better, think about this, he has a better strikeout to walk ratio against right-handed pitching than he does left-handed pitching. He has a better batting average with runners in scoring position against right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching. But we're still going to start Max Kepler. Really? So yes, your lineup tonight. No Harrison Bader. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Realmuto, Castellanos, followed by Marsh, the aforementioned Max Kepler, Edmundo Sosa at third, Bryson Stott at second, Taijuan Walker on the mound for the Phillies. And for those who might be wondering, the pitching matchup tonight is a right-handed starter. I'm sure that's the Phillies' excuse for why they're saying, "Oh, we gotta put Kepler out there." Yeah, Kramer. There's no scenario why Bader couldn't still be starting. But this organization is very, very, very intent on giving Kepler every opportunity to frustrate Philly fans, not earn his paycheck, and drive us all nuts. And it's a shame we have to have that conversation the day after Kyle Schwarber solidified his status as an MVP candidate. And again, the Phillies lineup has been brought to you by Instant Services, South Jersey's premier HVAC plumbing and electrical service provider. Go to instantservices.com to learn more about their preventive maintenance memberships and how they can keep your systems running strong year round. Because last night we saw Kyle Schwarber elevate himself into the you can't deny it anymore conversation. You can't deny anymore that Kyle Schwarber needs to be in the MVP conversation. Now, listen, I told you guys 2 months ago here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill the rest of the way here on the Sports Bash. Don't forget the Phillies game tomorrow, the afternoon game. You can go watch the game with Nick Earnshaw and Pete G down at Yuri's in Wildwood for our Phillies watch party here with the Sports Bash 2 to 6 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN. But when those guys go down there tomorrow, part of the conversation needs to be moving forward Kyle Schwarber's MVP candidacy. Now, in the past, Kyle Schwarber, he's never broken the top 10 in MVP voting. And I understand that part of it was because in some of those years he had a bad batting average. Some of those years he had a lot of strikeouts. He has significantly cut down on the strikeouts. He has significantly improved the batting average. And now he leads Major League Baseball with 94 RBI. He is on pace to tie the Phillies' all-time single-season record of home runs set by Ryan Howard. Right now, Kyle Schwarber is among the best in baseball in every significant category. And in the National League, his on-base plus slugging percentage is second best. The home runs I mentioned, the 40, that actually leads the National League now. I mentioned the RBI the most in baseball. And by the way, after leading the National League in walks last year, he is third in walks this year. Now, I'm not promising you he's going to win MVP because at the end of the day, we all know what happens. People vote for the guy that they like, not always the guy who's most deserving. It's the reason why I made the argument earlier this year that I didn't think Shohei Ohtani was going to win the MVP because I think there's some fatigue with him. The Pete Crow Armstrong argument is something that needs to be put in the factor. Now, while I wouldn't vote for him, I would vote for Schwarber, but I'm biased. I'm a big Kyle Schwarber guy. Schwarber is my favorite Philly on this team. But there's a reason why the odds makers have PCA at most of the books as either the second or third MVP favorite. One, because the Cubs are having a great year. Two, Pete Crow Armstrong is number one in the National League in wins above replacement. PCA, as he is called, is top 10 in the National League in pretty much every significant stat. Slugging percentage, runs scored, hits, total bases. He leads the National League in doubles. He's also fourth in home runs, fifth in RBI, third in stolen bases. He has all the stats that people like to latch onto for their arguments. He also happens to have a better batting average than Kyle Schwarber. Now, Schwarber's got the better on-base percentage. But for certain people, they are going to make this into a Pete Crow Armstrong versus Kyle Schwarber debate. And if anybody decides to give Shohei Ohtani any votes, it's going to dilute both voting pools for PCA and Schwarbs. So while Kyle Schwarber continues to build a stellar and elite and incredible and impressive MVP candidacy, you cannot overlook the fact that, again, at 23 years old, Pete Crow Armstrong is the hot new thing. And if you were listening to earlier in the Sports Bash, Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. I said to Mike Gill earlier today because he was talking about how much he loves the Johan Duran entrance. And if he gets to pick anything, he wants the new cool thing. And I said, well, you sound like a kid who only wants to play with his new toy. And Mike Gill said, yeah, because all the other old toys are in the corner. And that's the problem with some of these conversations. Pete Crow Armstrong is the cool, new, fun spectacle, player, toy, whatever you want to refer to it as. And the reason why PCA and Schwarber have a chance at the MVP is in part because there is a little Ohtani fatigue. And while Ohtani does have the best on-base plus slugging percentage in the National League, his numbers are extremely less than they were last year and the year before when he was the league MVP. He is not going to put up the crazy numbers he did last year or the extremely impressive numbers he put up the year before with the Angels. This is the time for someone to use a we're tired of giving it to fill in the blank guy MVP argument. But are voters going to prefer the shiny new toy that is Pete Crow Armstrong, or are they going to go for the guy who is the real most valuable player? The guy who is by far the single example why the Philadelphia Phillies are on pace to win 92 games and have a chance at a postseason run. Because the difference is, to me, is that Pete Crow Armstrong is being propped up by the team that he's on, in part. You look at PCA's numbers, and you realize he might not even be the best hitter on his own team. Seiya Suzuki has more RBIs this season. Nico Horner has more hits this season. There are not one, not two, but three different everyday players who have a better batting average this year than Pete Crow Armstrong. You take PCA off the Cubs, and you factor in his wins above replacement analytics, they are still, at best, a 60-win ball club. Do any of you really believe that Kyle Schwarber, if taken off the Phillies, is only going to be responsible for -4 losses? Sorry, -4 wins? It's probably more than that. You take Kyle Schwarber off of this Phillies team, they go from 64 wins to probably at least 56. 64 to 56 is a huge difference from 65 to 60. But yet there are going to be people who are going to vote for the shiny new toy because he's cool, he's fun, he's got a great nickname. And there's going to be a bunch of people who do not appreciate what Kyle Schwarber is doing. And I know some people are going to say that, look, the Phillies don't want Schwarber to win MVP because it's going to cost more money in free agency. Frankly, we all know the truth. The truth is that if you're not signing Kyle Schwarber because him winning MVP is going to cost a little bit more money, then you didn't want him in the first place. Glenn from Absecon chimes in at 609-403-0973. Says Schwarber has always been a productive player, but it's so crazy how players have career years when they're up for a contract. Is it just a coincidence, or do they lock in that much more because of the contract situation? It makes you wonder. That's from Glenn and Absecon. Well, Glenn, I think that it's a coincidence and they lock in more. Here's why I say that. The last 2 years, Kyle Schwarber has gotten in better physical condition. His batting average has gone up each year. His strikeout rate has gone down each year. And his on-base percentage has gone up each year. Now, if you want to say maybe Schwarber has been working the last 2 years for the big contract, I mean, that's a lot of long-term planning, but then you kind of have to extra respect Schwarber for it. So I do think there is a little bit more of a lock-in, but I do think it's also a bit of a coincidence as well, is because Schwarber is I love the game, I do it for the love of the game. You know, they were asking him last night about, hey, what do you think about being on pace to potentially break Ryan Howard's record? And he was like, I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm just trying to help us win ball games. Like, he had no pretense. He had no grandiose ideas. There was never a moment where when they asked him about the home runs or the stats or anything, or even when he won an All-Star Game MVP, he was never out there telling you how great he is. In a world that loves to tell you that they're the best, in a world that loves to say, look at me, Kyle Schwarber is all about winning ball games. And the stats happen to come along. So Glenn from Muskegon, I tend to say it's a little of both. Steven Ventnor chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says, putting Kepler in a lineup does look good to other players and prospective free agents. The Phillies show loyalty like that, so it's not for nothing. Well, Steven Ventnor, I think if that's what players think when they see Max Kepler in the lineup, then those players around Major League Baseball are imbeciles. Because I have never been in a situation where I was happy that somebody was getting an opportunity when they didn't deserve it. There should not be a single player in Major League Baseball that looks at Max Kepler and says, I'm so glad that guy Kepler is getting opportunities. I'm so glad those Phillies are loyal to him. If I'm a player like Harrison Bader on this team or a player on another team, I'm thinking, why is Max Kepler starting? And if I'm the opposing pitcher, I'm saying, yes, Max Kepler is starting. If other players and prospective free agents look at the Phillies and say, look at the loyalty that they give Max Kepler, it's good. That's a good look for the Phillies. Then those players I don't want on this team. Steven Ventnor, I got to be honest. I don't want somebody in Philadelphia who would rather a guy get opportunities because a team is trying to be loyal versus putting the best guy in the lineup. If you're a competitor, if you are a competitive athlete, if you are all about a meritocracy in sports, you are all about guys earning their paycheck, then there's no scenario, none, where you would want Max Kepler out there if you are an opposing player or team. The only people who should be excited when Max Kepler is in the lineup is opposing pitchers, because they know that the odds of them getting through the Phillies lineup without damage just went up a couple notches. All right, more texts to get to on the other side. Ray and EHT, as well as Jeff in Ocean City. Your text and more still to come. 609-403-0973. DMs into 973 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Josh Hennig hanging in with you, filling in for Mike Gill up until 6 p.m. here on the Sports Bash. 973 ESPN.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Hey, it's Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. You know, the blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. Do you want to make your house really stand out from all your neighbors? Then have us install a custom metal roof. With 26 different colors to choose from, you can be the talk of the town. Go to apexeastroofing.com, where you'll see that we're an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred contractor, an elite status held by only 1% of roofing companies.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at apexeastroofing.com. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
You hear that? That's Mike, sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZQL Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The John Deere Gator XUV lets you cut, pack, drive, scout, weld, stack, feed, pull, load, tow, spray, and haul, all in a single day. Because with the highest cargo box volume in its class, customizable features, and a towing capacity of up to 4,000 pounds, it gets the job done. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at your John Deere dealer or visit johndeere.com/Gator XUV.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. Taijuan Walker gets the start for the Phillies tonight, continuing their home series against Baltimore. Walker 3-5, an ERA of 3.82. Dean Kremer will go for the Orioles. He is 8-3. Monday night, Philadelphia won 13-3 as Kyle Schwarber had 2 home runs, 3 hits, 6 RBIs. Bryce Harper also went deep. Philadelphia has won 4 of 6, and they lead the Mets by a game and a half in the division. The Eagles making a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders. They send defensive tackle Thomas Booker in exchange for corner Jacorian Bennett. Bennett was a 4th-round pick by Las Vegas in 2023. 24 career games with the Raiders with 11 starts. The Eagles opening up their preseason schedule Thursday night against the Cincinnati Bengals. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. We do have some clouds overhead, and there is a slight chance of a shower coming to visit tonight. We're talking a few raindrops creeping in, if that. I just don't want you taken by surprise. Low temperature dips to around 67 degrees. Tomorrow, scattered clouds, maybe a sprinkle, high of 81. We'll clear to sunshine on Thursday, a very nice day, high of 80. Mostly sunny on Friday, high 83. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Josh Hennig back here, filling in for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to the text board in just a bit. 609-403-0973. By the way, it is officially official. The Eagles trade of defensive tackle Thomas Booker to the Raiders in exchange for Jacorian Bennett is a done deal. And we'll get into a little detail about that deal in just a bit, because I do have some thoughts on that trade that I've kind of been chewing on for the last almost 18 hours at this point. But we'll get back to the text board first at 609-403-0973 as we've been talking about the Phillies and Kyle Schwarber and Max Kepler. Got a lot of thoughts coming in from folks on the text board this hour. Jeff from Ocean City says, PCA is no Kyle Schwarber. No, he's not. Listen, and I'm not anti-PCA. I told you guys months ago that he was going to be in this MVP conversation all year. I was always convinced about that. But part of it was also because he was on a good team. And at the end of the day, unless your name is Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Andre Dawson, unless you're a guy who is just such an elite player and having such an elite season that no one can deny it. Most of the time, we treat MVP as an award that goes to players on good teams. We don't always look at if the guy is the best player in baseball. We treat MVP as if, hey, that team won a lot of games. Who's the best player on that team? Award. So it's always been a little bit of an odd thing to me. It's always been a little perplexing, but I get it. We live in that kind of world. And listen, I think that Pete Armstrong is an example of what happens when an organization makes a long-term commitment to a youth movement. Because people might not remember this, but this is a guy who the Cubs had to trade for a few years ago. He was not someone that they drafted. He was actually drafted by the New York Mets. And it was a bit of a deal that people were, at least Cub fans, not too happy about. Javier Baez was a very, very popular player in Chicago. He was part of them winning the World Series in 2016. He was a multiple-time All-Star. And when they traded him, he was 28 years old. And at the time, the Mets were a team that was trying to see if they could make a postseason run. And it ended up they just fell on their face. And then the Mets let him leave in free agency. And he went to, I think it was the Tigers after that. But at the time, this was an unpopular trade for the Cubs. But the Cubs made an intense commitment years ago that the window had expired for a lot of their guys at that point in time. And Pete Armstrong was the centerpiece of that deal. He was the guy that they traded for specifically. They said, we want this guy. And don't forget that Javier Baez was not the only guy that the Cubs traded away. He was a popular player for them. There were other guys like Anthony Rizzo and others that they let go as well. Two of the best young players for the Cubs were both acquired in recent years. Michael Busch, their first baseman, and then Pico Armstrong, their center fielder at this point. Also, they traded for Kyle Tucker. Now, Kyle Tucker's more of a rental, and they're going to try to hope they can keep him, but there's no guarantee they will. But they also went out and recrafted this roster. And the Cubs are an example of what it means to be committed to a rebuild and be committed to retooling your organization. You don't bring up a guy like Matt Shaw to play third base if this is about more than just this year. So PCA is part of the future of baseball, and I'm not anti-PCA. I told you guys I thought he was going to be an MVP candidate. I'm just well aware of who and what he is at this point, and that is he is not the most valuable player in baseball. Take him off the Cubs, they're still a very good team. Take Schwarber off the Phillies. Phillies are probably not winning 90 games this year. Ray and EHT chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says, I got to agree, not only are you telling your players that you don't want them, but you're giving them a reason to not play well. Like if I get the MVP, I can get paid. So you're promoting bad baseball playing by saying that. That's insane. What are these teams doing? Well, the problem is Ray and EHT, I think you and I are, and everybody's asking the same question. We're all trying to figure out why exactly the Phillies keep playing Kepler. And the only answer that we've been given is honestly the biggest load of horse manure we have heard come out of Rob Thompson's mouth during his managerial tenure. Listen, there's coach speak, and then there's Rob Thompson answering a very, very legitimate question with this ridiculous answer.
There's a lot of frustration in the fan base with Kepler. Like, why are you guys continuing to give him opportunities at this point?
Swinging the bat good now. You know, like I said, there's not much to show for it, but he's barreling a lot of balls up. He's playing really good defense.
He's barreling the ball up and playing really good defense. Right, EHC, that's why people like you and me are frustrated. Because what you're doing is you're saying, we're just going to make up reasons why we put people in the lineup. We're just going to figure it out as we go along. It's not that big a deal. He's hitting the ball hard. It's not getting on base, but he's hitting the ball hard. He's going to play good defense. You know, Johan Rojas played good defense, but he sent him down in the minor leagues. I'm telling you guys right now, if Kepler is on this team beyond the end of this month, I hope the Philadelphia fan base riots. Because it's getting to the point where you're insulting everyone's intelligence. To have Max Kepler out there. The starting outfield at this point with this current roster should be Harrison Bader in center, Brandon Marsh in left, and then when there's a left-handed pitcher and you don't want to play Marsh, you put Weston Wilson or Otto Kemp out there. But you let Bader keep playing center. He is a Gold Glove winner. Brandon Marsh is a very good athlete, but not the center fielder that Harrison Bader is. 609-403-0973. Texter chimes in on the text board. It says, Schwarberian is a great nickname. ESPN Sports Center anchors love this guy, and so do Phillies fans. Listen, man, I will never be the guy who complains about Schwarber. I wasn't a complainer about him before. I'm not going to start doing it now. The Schwarber bomb, the Schwarbombs, the almost, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but there's so much about Kyle Schwarber when he hits these home runs, when he has these big moments. It really does remind you of Roy Hobbs' character from The Natural, where it's like this dude was born to hit a baseball, and the way he hits the ball sometimes, it just is insane. When Kyle Schwarber makes solid contact, there's only a handful of ball players that I can think of that were as pure and as just incredible when they're on as Schwarber is. Now, one of them is a guy whose career did not work out as well because of, addiction and injuries, that being Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton was the last guy that I saw that was like, man, that guy was born to hit a baseball. That guy was born to be a ball player, right? Hamilton had that run, and he was arguably about the best player in baseball, one of the best players in baseball. And so, when you look at a guy like Schwarber, I don't think he's Josh Hamilton at his peak. Hamilton at his peak was Mike Trout level stuff. But Schwarber's like the next best thing, and I love watching him play, and I hope he gets legitimate consideration for the MVP. I hope that he does not get any negative points against him because somebody's enamored with Pete Crow Armstrong or someone, feels they have to give it to Shohei Ohtani. If you're just doing a blind resume, that's the word I was looking for. Blind resume. Schwarber's the guy. Schwarber should be the MVP. But I'm sure there's some voters, because over the years we've seen some weird things from voting and awards. And if I've learned anything from talking with Rob Motti from the Associated Press over the years, some of these people who have ballots or voting privileges, I should say, maybe they shouldn't have voting privileges, right? And I know that on the NFL side, Rob Motti has done a very, very thorough job at trying to tighten up their process, to clean up the process for the Associated Press when it comes to their voting for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year and everything. Baseball doesn't have a Rob Motti going in and cleaning up who's voting, who's not right now. So we are still at the behest of some people who will make decisions for all the wrong reasons when it comes to MVP. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN, the 5 o'clock hour, being brought to you by Whitehorse RV Center in Williamstown and Galloway. The summer clearance event is on now at Whitehorse RV Center. Whitehorse RV, your adventure starts here. Whitehorse RV in Williamstown and Galloway. Don't forget, tomorrow, the Sports Bash will be back on the road at Yuri's in Wildwood, where we have been hanging out throughout the summer, watching Phillies day games. The next Phillies day game is tomorrow. Yuri's in Wildwood is where you want to be. The game starts at 12:35, and the Sports Bash with Mike Gill will be ongoing. It'll be Nick Earnshaw, PG, filling in for Mike Gill tomorrow at Yuri's in Wildwood. And then I'll be filling in for Mike Gill Thursday and Friday here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up on the other side, the deal is official. Ja'Cory Bennett is a Philadelphia Eagle. We'll look back on what Nick Sirianni told the media about Bennett earlier today, and I'll give you my thoughts on why this deal may be telling us more than the Eagles want to let on. Josh Hennig hanging out with you, filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I Can't see him, but he talks to me.
On 97.3 ESPN.
The seafood, extraordinary. The value, tremendous. The sunsets, on the house. It's Yuri's Waterfront Restaurant. Dine indoors, on the deck overlooking the bay, or watch the game at Sliders Bar with a new baseball-themed sliders menu. Enjoy delicious seafood, including Yuri's famous all-you-can-eat crabs, tropical summer cocktails, and daily specials. Yuri's has a kids menu and an arcade. And next to Yuri's is the Boathouse Restaurant. Two great ways to experience the Jersey Shore's best waterfront dining. Yuri's and the Boathouse at the foot of the bridge in Wildwood.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Juice box. I'm a mom.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check. Oh, hot sauce. Take it.
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins, a balloon. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 per month on Experience Beyond. Finance agreement $829.99 and qualifying ported. For well-qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay out via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
For over 135 years, First Bank of Sea Isle City has proudly served Cape May County with a commitment to maintaining a hometown feel. We provide secure, convenient deposit and loan products every day. We're more than just a bank. We're a trusted community partner, offering personalized banking solutions that make life easier for local families of all ages. First Bank of Sea Isle City. Look for our lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
My name is Georgios Tsetis. I'm the co-founder of Nutrafol. My hair started thinning in my early 20s. I tried everything, and nothing was really working. So we created Nutrafol. Our hair growth supplements undergo clinical trials and have helped millions of men and women get visibly thicker and stronger hair in just 3 to 6 months.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
My debit card.
their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Protect your home and auto by bundling them with Progressive, and you'll have a little less to worry about. But we know you'll find other things to worry about. Like that text you just got from your boss. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Hey, call me when you get a sec. Oh, hey, call me when you get a sec. Yeah, this is bad. Oh, well, at least you protected your home and auto with Progressive, so you don't have to worry about that. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
It's close. I think both of them are having a good camp, but it's close. And been happy with both of them, and we'll see.
That was Vic Fangio on Monday asking about the cornerback battle, right? The whole, hey, Jackson, Adoree Jackson, Keely, Ringo, who's going to be the guy? Oh, it's close. It's really close. And then late last night, the Eagles acquire a guy who can be the starter at outside corner. Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN. I've actually been waiting to get into this conversation about Bennett all day long because last night I did a little research. I realized that Jakari Bennett is now the 8th cornerback on this roster. Now, if there was not some concerns about the depth at the cornerback position, why would you want to acquire another cornerback? Well, Nick Sirianni was asked about that today, and he gave the most Nick Sirianni answer possible about, hey, Nick, you acquired a cornerback late last night. What are your thoughts on this cornerback situation? And Nick Sirianni, well, he decided to pull out the old Nick Sirianni competition card.
Again, just adding depth to that position. I think both of those guys have done an outstanding job, and I know Vic talked about that yesterday. Just that's a battle. You love having battles, and I think you can look out there and see Adoree make a play. And you see Keely make a play, and you guys have seen it. They're doing a really nice job. Excited about how they worked and how they worked all off season, how they worked all summer, and came in here ready to compete. Competition brings out the best in all our guys.
Apparently it brings out the best in Howie Roseman too, because Howie Roseman decided that competition ain't good enough. Notice how in the entire answer he doesn't address Jakari Bennett at all, did Nick Sirianni earlier today. So then he was asked again about Bennett, the Eagles' new corner they got from the Raiders. Here was Nick Sirianni earlier today at his press conference, as heard here on 97.3 ESPN.
Yeah, again, we liked his tape coming out. We liked his tape when he was with the Raiders, and he's got speed, coverage ability, special teams value. So we're excited to have him.
Oh, you like this tape? Coverage ability, special teams availability. Sounds like a pretty complete player. Here's what they're not telling you. Because you heard Fangio say it before. The competition between Jackson and Ringo was close. Well, when a competition is close, that means there's no definitive winner. I don't care what arena it is. You can't tell me that the competition is close, then acquire a guy who can play outside corner. A guy who led the Big Ten in passes defended a couple years ago. A guy who was drafted by the Raiders and who, frankly, a lot of Raiders fans, according to Q Myers, joining Mike Gill earlier today on 97.3 ESPN, a lot of Raider fans were surprised that they traded him away. Now, apparently, Bennett is not a good fit for Pete Carroll's cover 3 defense, but his skill set seems to be more appropriate for a Vic Fangio defense. I will not be surprised if there is a scenario where Jakari Bennett is the Eagles' starting corner in Week 1, Keely Ringo is his backup, and Adoree Jackson is in another uniform this season. I'm Josh Hennig. I'm filling for Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Yuri's in Wildwood. The Sports Bash will be there.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles return to open the preseason Thursday night against the Bengals.
Farrell back. He tries to swing it out to Chase, and he's brought down for a loss by DeJean.
Oh, my. What a play by the rookie Cooper DeJean.
Listen to all the action with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick with pregame coverage starting at 6:30 and kickoff at 7:30. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.